one all-time greatest 49er, right after we recap our list.
Number 10, Frank Gore rushes past some of the best ever.
He's ahead of some Hall of Famers, but he should be.
Number 9, Charles Haley helps fuel a dynasty.
He was the guy on the defensive side of the ball in all of those Super Bowl years.
Number 8, Dwight Clark made the catch, but couldn't catch on in Hollywood.
Hey, you guys got the wrong car.
Number 7, more powerful than a locomotive, Roger Craig literally runs over people to make our list.
Well, what a bonanza!
Number 6, with 6 Pro Bowls and counting, Patrick Willis looks like a sure thing.
If you're putting Willis at number 6, you're kind of rolling the dice and hoping to look good when this airs as a rerun in 5 years.
Number 5, Steve Young becomes a legend after replacing one.
In my world, he's number 1.
Number 4, the $1 million backfield, priceless.
All 4 of them wound up in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Number 3, Ronnie Lott, the toughest 49er defender ever.
He hit people so hard, their families felt it.
Number 2, Jerry Rice lands at an unfamiliar spot.
He's number 1 in everything, except this.
And now, the number 1 49er of all time, Joe Cool, Joe Montana.
Joe Montana clearly, without a doubt, was the greatest 49er of all time.
Oh, yeah, that's no brainer.
That's not even debatable.
Joe Montana is the greatest human being ever born.
Greatest quarterback of all time.
More important than all presidents.
Nobody's ever done it as well as Joe Montana. Just complete control of the offense.
He could bring peace to the Middle East.
Talking about the best quarterback that has ever lived.
Joe Montana, I'll say he is the best who's ever played the game.
In fact, I think Joe Montana could run all nations. I love Joe Montana.
I grew up a 49er fan. I remember what it was like before Joe Montana.
For the 49ers, these were the worst of times.
Everything that happened for this franchise, it started with number 16.
Jerry Rice may be the greatest player of all time, but Joe Montana takes the top spot on our list as the greatest 49er, having transformed the NFL's doormat into the team of the decade in the 80s, winning 4 Super Bowls.
Touchdown 49ers! And the 49ers have won the Super Bowl. And the Bay Area may begin its celebration.
The 49ers become the first team to win back-to-back Super Bowls since the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Joe was kind of one of those rare, iconic figures you come across in sports where they cross over to pop culture.
I know Joe Montana's supposed to be really great.
He's like Jesus. He came from God. He was put on this earth for all women and children to love him.
34 years to get this development.
His best physical tool was his accuracy. He could put the ball exactly where he wanted it.
It was a perfect throw by Joe Montana.
When the ball's snapped, he has the ability to know where everybody is and what they're going to do.
You often see Joe look at this guy, look at this guy, look at this guy, then maybe go back to this guy.
Montana just knows where everybody's going to be before they get there.
Anytime the 49ers trailed in any part of the fourth quarter, the assumption was, well, the Niners will win. Montana's back there.
Montana rolling out the right, throwing under pressure, throws his pass, caught by Clark.
When the pressure is on, Joe just slows everything down.
There was never a set of circumstances that were going to be too dire for Joe Montana to overcome.
He was Joe Cool.
Well, obviously, the best comeback was Super Bowl 23.
The overall importance of the game was for the Super Bowl. And what does he do? He points into the stands and says, hey, there's John Candy.
You'd look at the defense, and you'd see it in their eyes, because they knew as well as you knew what an advantage it was to have Joe.
When you talk about Super Bowl, driving the team down, that's the ultimate right there.
Montana throws.
Choosing the game's greatest quarterback over the greatest player of all time wasn't easy.
Jerry Rice or Joe Montana?
Well, it's a great question, but I mean,
Wow.
That's like asking me which of my kids do I love more.
All right, Montana is heads, and Rice is tails.
Jerry Rice is the greatest 49er player. I have the guy who scored more points than anybody in NFL history.
You gotta take quarterbacks. Quarterbacks run the show. Quarterbacks do the most.
I would argue that without Jerry Rice, Joe Montana and Steve Young do not have the careers they had.
When we're all in high school, who's the coolest kid in school? Is it the wide receiver or is it the quarterback? It's the quarterback.
If you want to argue Joe Montana as the #1 49er, I will fight you. You have a team and a city that had never won and could never win. And then Joe Montana came and the whole thing changed. The 49er list, you're putting 16 in the top spot and you're leaving them there.
We'll get you.